Okay guys, today we're going to start something more slow-paced. We're going to start something dinosaur-based. We're going to start something cannot be placed here because of terrain constrictions. You're not going to believe what I'm playing. That's not a dinosaur. That's a lizard. It's like a reptile. When I saw that Din OS, I knew they were making a clever joke. Because Jurassic Park 3 is so fire. Also, usually I play with a controller. This is my first time, like, playing dedicated with a controller. So, like, good luck to me. As you can see, I have every DLC because, I don't know, I'm like a loser, man. But we're gonna be building a, sort of loosely Jurassic Park nostalgia-based park, today. So we're gonna, we want to turn the overcrowding view off because I don't like it. And we're gonna use the classic path. I kind of like this one. I don't know why I don't use it more. It's just kind of just even more calming and natural looking. Okay, but we're gonna start with that. Then, a funny thing you can do in this, so you cannot technically set up a whole nother working arrival center. Or it will say that it's just a decoration, purely decorative, but it still can work for, dinosaur making, You can use this if you want, like, a sort of, more off-grid area for making the dinosaurs. I personally don't like my dino making facilities to be, where guests would be able to see them, because it's not very realistic. You want to keep anything that the guests don't need to see. You'd want to keep that away from the guests. So I do like using terrain tools in this as well a little bit. I do have a few mods downloaded, you'll notice, probably. So much easier on controller, bro, I swear. I am used to it. First time I ever played this game was on Xbox. Now I have it on PC with an Xbox controller. So, a lot of people say that it's better on PC. I personally think that, and also I played on Xbox One. So it's not like I'm not true Xbox, I don't know the true limitations. I had all the limitations, and I made the most out of them. This does feel a lot different. I don't get to lean back as much, though, So most of the mods that I use are going to be like, free build and all that. Mostly not adding new things. I do have a few that add new things, such as like a statues mod, because why wouldn't you want dinosaur statues? I'm really excited that those are going to be in Jurassic World Evolution 3. I'm stoked. You guys can't see it, but I'm getting invited to play Phasmophobia. I'm going to click respond to that. So we are going to now we have this little area set up that doesn't look too good from afar, but from the guest level, you cannot really see any of my facilities. You can see little tiny itty bitty bit of the hatchery's trees peeking out, but for the most part, you can't see anything. So we're not gonna have a whole petting zoo deal here, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't looking for something similar. But it's not gonna be a petting zoo because, as you should know, it's incredibly unsafe to have people in a dinosaur petting zoo. And if you don't know that, what do you mean you don't know that? Okay, control is multi-place. And I have to rotate it each time. And you might be thinking, oh, this is overkill, because way too many viewing galleries, except the range for viewing galleries kind of sucks when you put them right up against a fence, unless you're catering specifically to that range, which I do not. So, now I'm going to go figure out what kind of dinosaur I want to put in here. I have a lot of options, over 122, but I think I'm going to go with my personal favorite dinosaur. I don't like the Jurassic World Evolution, Olorotitan. It kind of sucks, but it is my favorite dinosaur overall, out of all dinosaurs. So we're going to go, I also do have a Lux skin mod for all dinosaurs, but we're going to go with muted and no pattern, because the patterns on it are way too flashy. Oh my god. Jeez, no wonder people don't, like, make their dinosaurs perfectly happy and healthy when they're using, like, PC. It sucks. I guess I should probably give it some food and water and set up its enclosure. Oh, that was slope, not radius. We can still have slope all the way up. We just want the smallest radius possible. That way we can fit a tiny little amount of water. Should still be enough for, we're going to fit 3 Olorotitans in here, which means that they will need some large food. Now we're going to give them 2 options, because I love them so much. So they're going to have the dry and other food. The dry and not dry plants for foods. You know? You understand? Ornamental shrubs, we're going to put some little bit of grass down here. This is probably not what a Olorotitan would have lived in. It could have been, though. I don't know. I haven't done that much research. So I said 2 or 3. I'm gonna avoid the ones with, like, generally bad stats, because why would you not? Also, we have their comfort off. So they're gonna be perfectly fine with this. If they end up somehow not being perfectly fine with this, something went very wrong. So the Olorotitans are coming in now. I think I made them fit in pretty well with the plants in the background. While we wait for them to get in, we're gonna build 2 up this way, and then abandon that whole endeavor in favor of making a little Olorotitan exhibit area where people can, like, look at statues and stuff, you know? This will probably be a series. I think I'm going to do 1 exhibit each time, so they're going to be pretty short videos until they start getting longer, because I start doing more and more detail. I was planning on doing something like this with a map where there's, like, it's a huge grid, and I would do 1 mini park for every square, but I just don't think that would be too entertaining over long periods of time. So now for the statue mod I have, I gotta find the Olorotitan. Sometimes things are pretty hard to find.
Asset being transported.
So unfortunately they are all just in one position. So I'm gonna want some, you know, some smaller accent dinosaurs. Like the Kentrosuarus, for example. Very small stegosaur. And some of these accent dinosaurs I will actually add. A lot of them will just end up being for display. Eucephalus. No, they don't like the... They do not like the stegosaurs. Actually, wait, never mind. Everything likes everything here. So we're gonna have Chrictonsaurus. This is gonna be tiny little herbivore paradise. Okay, an ornithomino. We're gonna want you mostly, at least, armored things. Nasutoceratops is pretty small by comparison, so we're gonna have that. Then we can fit in a scavenger. No, this is not the size that the scavenger would actually be. Scavenger statues are pretty huge. It's really weird how big Olorotitan is. Like, look at this. This is T-Rex. This is the Jurassic Park Velociraptors. And yet one of the Jurassic Park Velociraptors can kill an Olorotitan somehow. It's about as tall as a Stegosaurus. Chrictonsaurus is... No. Trying to figure out what to end with. Myosaur would be nice. But that'd just be a repeat of like a species group. Maybe we don't need anything else. So here's going to be our species lineup. Olorotitan is going to be the main attraction, speaking of. And they do want more. And also these ones don't fit in much with the environment. So we're going to change the colors on them. And also at the same time see what I can do. Do all these muted colors. So it can be any of those colors. Now we're going to start doing this. So we had the Kentrosuarus, which I gotta find, because I do not always remember where they are. I know that it's like alphabetical and all that, but also it's just a huge list of dinosaurs, which is understandably, I hope, pretty hard to go through very quickly. Could have put a smaller sauropod in there, but we are also going to fit some things in. So yeah, it's a pretty decent crest that it has, but everything else is way too skinny for a hadrosaur. So hadrosaurs would have been very beefy animals. They would have had huge muscles on their necks, and like. So this whole swan thing, I'm not sure. I think it came from like Jurassic Park, or at least that's where it was popularized. It's not true or accurate at all. And yes, I will have separate hadrosaur exhibits. I will have a Parasaurolophus exhibit, because I still love the Parasaurolophus. I will be using the Dominion Parasaurolophus though, because Dominion's the first Jurassic World movie
Acknowledging
to
asset
get
collection
a
request.
Lambeosaurine hadrosaur to actually look like it would have. A lot of the mistakes in Jurassic Park were excusable, but once you got to Jurassic World, feathers were already, in that time, a pretty well-known thing that dinosaurs had.
Asset collection request received.
So there's really no fair reason for things to not have feathers in that movie. Now I'm going to talk about Nasutoceratops a little bit, because I love the Jurassic World and Park version, except for the elephant feet. I will always be an elephant feet hater. Because yes, while aesthetically they look nicer, it's ridiculous. I mean, like, yeah, it looks like it would make sense. It's a very cattle-like dinosaur. Well, actually, no, cattle-like and elephant feet don't even make sense. They just think like a large, leathery skinned thing, and they immediately think of, like an elephant, which is fair, but most dinosaurs wouldn't have really been super leathery, or if they were, it would be pretty far from, like, elephant. Only bad thing about this herbivore feeder mod is, their necks kind of click through sometimes. Why am I playing on 1x speed? Yeah, so they're filtering in to see all the sites, which I guess probably means it's time
Transporting asset.
for my restroom. Yeah, you can now go to the bathroom. It would not be a very fun line though, considering it's the only bathroom currently in the park, and we already have a whole bunch of people. Okay, there we go, 2 bathrooms now. So here's the little Kentrosuarus. I like this. It's pretty okay. This was Chrictonsaurus. See, a Kentrosuarus is tiny compared to Olorotitan. And the Olorotitan's entire thing is being the huge hadrosaur, even though it's really not that much bigger than, like, say, Parasaurolophus. It was named, so it's supposed to be big. Olorotitan, obviously. That means Titanic Swan, based on when people thought that hadrosaurs would have looked like swans. I personally think that they would have acted and filled in, like, the niche of, like, horses. Obviously not the niche that we have horses in currently today, because there weren't humans or anything to ride them, but, like, still a very similar niche, at least. Because hadrosaurs had, like, hoof-like forms on their feet. And this video will be ending right after I finish with this tiny little the enclosure. Helicopter lining up. So I'm likely gonna speed up
Asset in transit.
the rest of this, starting from around now. Slowing it down a lot and show you the dinosaurs. So here's the Chrictonsaurus. You can see he's wading through the water, poking his head up. All of these have very, like, muted tones. I've already showed you the Olorotitan Kentrosuarus. Here's the Nasutoceratops. This is still very flashy because I personally think that the frills would have had like colors to attract mates, but it's very still dull and cattle-like. So we're gonna do a little cinematic first-person walk through it. See, we got these little fences over in the guest area to keep them from wandering off the path, of course. Then I spruced up the statues a little bit. Some planters. Got some sushi. This is action figures for dinosaurs, and here's some boba. There's our bathroom, and then here's the enclosure. You might notice we have pretty low fences. That's because these are all, at least in the Jurassic World universe, pretty peaceful herbivores. Now we're going to try and see if that capture mode is any good